Hello everybody, welcome back to our little tarot corner. I'm Allie from Tarot, and I'm glad you're here. So today I am finally doing a VR response that I was tagged in by Kristy at Green Eyed Tarot. The original tag is a hashtag called 54321tarot, and it was created by Kelly Bear, so I will link both of their videos down below. If you haven't seen the tag or seen anybody that's done it, to summarize really quickly, the tag counts backwards from 5 with several aspects. So the 5 stands for 5 decks. It can be tarot or oracle or Lenormand or whatever style of deck that you choose. Kelly did say in her original video that it's kind of whatever you feel like doing. She knew that we would cheat because a lot of times in these tags that's who we are. I really only think I cheated once, and I don't know that I necessarily even consider it a cheat, so I tried not to, but anyway, the 5 is just 5 decks of a certain type, whether you choose 5 decks that are your current, at the time I'm filming, it's a couple days into November, it's November, what day is it? I don't know, November 4th, so it's a little bit past spooky season, being Halloween is over, but it could have been, 5 of your spooky season decks, or 5 of your most expensive decks, 5 of your cheapest decks, 5 independent decks that you love, 5 mass market decks that you love. You get the point. Some type of collection of 5 decks that you want to show. The number 4 stands for 4 books. So 4 tarot or tarot adjacent books that you enjoy and want to share. The 3 is for 3 tarot spreads. The 2 is 2 pieces of tarot paraphernalia or things that you use within your practice. And the 1 I have heard described 2 different ways. It can either be sharing 1 card that you are trying to personally embody currently, or it could be one person of advice. Do excuse me. As you all I'm sure can hear too, my allergies are the bane of my existence right now, but of course this is when I have time to film, so bear with me. So anyway, so those are the 1, and I believe that I will share a piece of advice to someone who is new to tarot, Tarottube, kind of the whole thing. So let's jump right in. Now my 5, I chose 5 sentimental decks. So these are decks that are all important to me for various reasons, and decks that I would never ever part with. The first being my first tarot deck that I ever purchased for myself, and that is my Morgan Greer. Now this is in my Moonlit Fae bag, which you can see she matched perfectly to the deck with a bright yellow inside. It matches because there's a lot of yellow in this deck, but I still have it in the original tuck box. She has seen some things. She's been some places. But I could never ever get rid of this box. So this deck, I'm sure you've all seen it, but it is my first deck that I remember buying. See, here's the backs and the bag. It's so good. But not only was it my first deck, it also is a deck that reminds me a lot of my dad and connects me a lot with energy that's like my dad. Now, my dad is not passed on or anything. I just, when you kind of need that voice, when you need that reasoning, that energy that comes from my dad, this is what I use. And I think partly it has to do with all the mustaches on the men, which I know is a big thing for this deck. It's very 70s, but it's also just important, as I said, because it was my first deck. And this card right here, the 3 of Swords, was the inspiration for my 3 of Swords tattoo. So, very sentimental, very special deck. I will never ever let it go. And that is my Morgan Greer. I do also have the Morgan Greer in a tin. I do tend to carry that one with me more, obviously, and leave this one at home, but you can't not use old gal, right? Or old guy. So, that's my Morgan Greer. That's deck number 1. Number 2 is my Crow Tarot by MJ Cullinan, again in a Moonlit Fae bag. This deck was excuse me, this deck was the first deck that I actually took the time to learn tarot on. Here are the backs. I know that this is also a well-shown deck, so I won't spend too long on it. Yeah, this deck I bought not too long after I moved to Iowa for a travel nurse contract, and we were still sort of in the midst of the panini, if you will. And so there was not much to do outside of go to work and get groceries. And we actually happened to be living in a Days Inn hotel room at the time. That was very interesting. We spent a total of 9 months, 9 or 10 months living out of a hotel room. It was crazy. But this is the deck, because there was not much to do, this is the deck that I truly would come home from work and just watch Tarottube videos, watch videos of people explaining tarot and taking notes and studying this deck and really trying to kind of memorize the cards and learn them. This is another part of inspiration for my tattoo. Yeah, I learned on this deck. This was really, even though I'd had my Morgan Greer for a while, I hadn't taken the time to truly learn tarot. And so this deck I am forever bonded with, because it is the deck that I took the time to actually start memorizing the cards and learning to read tarot. So for that reason, it is very, very important to me, and that is my Crow Tarot. My third deck is very sentimental to me as well. It is a deck that you personally have seen 1,000 times on this channel if you've been around. And that is my Gentle Tarot. Now, the reason I'm showing this deck is because this was my Kickstarter edition, and this was my first Kickstarter-backed deck. So this was my first introduction into the indie tarot world. I had no idea that there was such a thing as indie decks. It came with this beautiful, beautiful pouch. It's soft pink on the inside, and there was ribbon that tied around it, but the ribbon got really frayed. And I don't really carry it out of my house. If anything, I have my linen version and the version in a tin, so this one stays home. So I don't worry about damage, but this is the lovely bag that came with it. Anyway, but yes, this was my first Kickstarter deck, and I did not know that Kickstarter was even a thing. And once I found out, I saw this deck, and I was like, you know, I'd like to try to, you know, back a Kickstarter. That's kind of a cool concept. And it has forever changed my tarot world. Yeah, just so cool. Such a cool thing, and it really opened my eyes to like this whole sphere of tarot beyond just going to my local metaphysical shop or a local metaphysical shop, depending on where I was working and living at the time. So yes, I love it. That's my Gentle Tarot by Mari in the Sky. The next deck, okay, here's where I may be cheating, but I don't know that I consider it cheating. These are two decks by the same creator that I've actually made a whole video on my channel. But these are my Chicken Transitions Oracle, the new edition, and my Alternate Reality Oracle, both by Shawnee at the Empathetic Chicken. These are very special to me because this is the first time that a creator reached out to me personally and asked if I wouldn't mind receiving their decks to help gain interest and perhaps, you know, help fund the decks. So this is the Alternate Reality Oracle. I've shown it here on the channel before. It's a small kind of square deck. These are the backs. But these decks are special because it was the first time that I had been personally asked to do that. And the first time that a creator wanted me to be able to enjoy their decks prior to the public. But it's not even for that it's special. I've actually developed a sweet little friendship with Shawnee, and she is one of the coolest people that I know. She is so deep and so kind and so thoughtful and wise, and I just love the way that she views the world, and I love the way that she views tarot and oracle, and I just love that human. So this is the new full-sized, or oracle size rather, Chicken Transitions Oracle. This one I also showed in the video where I showcased both of these decks. It is now borderless, and it's just a fantastic deck. It's one of my favorites. She was also kind enough to send me another standard size copy of the Chicken Transitions with orange borders. So I've been considering maybe cutting the borders off of one of them, so having a borderless but small size of oracle, and then having the standard tarot size with the orange borders, and then having the large size. That would give me 3 different versions of this deck. Part of me is like, do I need to do that? And then the other part of me is like, yeah, we do. Anyway, it's just special when a creator thinks of you and wants to share their gift with you. That's just, it's something very, very precious, and something that I did not take for granted. And I'm just so appreciative. Unfortunately, these 2 decks did not meet their funding goal on Kickstarter. I'm not sure quite yet what the plan is. I hope that they will come back, that we will have a second chance to back it, because like I said, they're just wonderful decks, and I love them, and I love Shawnee, and she deserves all the success, and she deserves to have her projects out in the world. So again, Shawnee, if you're watching this, thank you so much. These decks have a very permanent place in my collection. I use them all the time. This alternate reality oracle kicks my tail every time I use it, but it's great. So that's why those are special to me. And my 5th and final deck is a deck that actually does not exist out in the world. I am a big fan of the creator Converth, or Earth, here on Instagram. He is based in the Philippines, and he makes beautiful decks. He's got the Earth Tarot. I have the Overgrow edition, which I believe that I've done a walkthrough of. But he's also got an Angel Oracle. He's got the Terraforma Tarot and Oracle, which I also have. He has an astrology deck, which I have. His stuff is just incredible, and I love his work. Anyway, this is the... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, this is the Terraforma Oracle Afterglow edition. That's what it's called. It is kind of small. These are the beautiful backs. First thing about it, he showed it on his Instagram, and of course I commented, and I was like, where can I get this? Are you selling these? Because yes, please. And he responded and said, no, you know, I only have this one right now. I haven't decided if I'm going to, you know, publish it or print it yet for sale, but maybe I will consider gifting it to you or selling it to you. Totally did not expect that, and I said absolutely, you know, and so he sent it to me and I purchased it from him. Now, when it arrived, I was not expecting, I'm going to try and get it to show on camera. Yeah, you can kind of see that leather detail, or faux leather detail. There it is. This deck is leather laminated. So it's a crazy, crazy feeling. Excuse me. See what I mean? Pardon me. It is a crazy feeling in hand. It is kind of a chunky, thick boy, but it is beautiful. Now that I've yammered on and on, let me show it to you. So this is essentially the Earth Tarot, or this is the Earth Tarot. It's similar to my Overgrow edition in that it is at least mostly the same art, but whereas the Overgrow edition is all in like greens and browns and kind of khakis, this one is obviously, as you can see, bright and colorful, from the borders to the actual artwork. It is so wonderful, and it's a lot of fun to use. I still don't know if he plans to put this out for the masses. I hope so, because it is incredible. It's very special because it feels like my own dirty little secret, you know? Although I guess now it's not so secret, but I wanted to... Oh, God, look at this Three of Swords. Something about it, y'all. I wanted to be honest and show decks that are important to me. And again, just like the last couple decks that I've shown, it's very, very sentimental, and I'm very honored to have it, and I do not take it for granted that I do have it. And yeah, it will never, ever, ever leave. And I put it in this bag that I have, that I bought from Don Michelle, because it just fits so perfectly. So that is my Earth Tarot Afterglow edition, and those are my 5 decks. Technically 6, but we're gonna say 5. Okay, 4 books. Now, mine are completely tarot adjacent. First, I will start with the bigger guidebook, The Companion to the Gentle Tarot, again by Mari in the Sky. When she released this, I could not back it fast enough on Kickstarter. This actually came into the campaign with the travel deck in a tin, was when this was released. And it goes so much more into what is on each card, and it gives you way more insight into Mari's heart and soul in terms of the deck. And it's just so wonderful. The way she writes is incredible. For instance, let's look at the Ace of Cups, right? There's the card, stunning, and it says, Ace of Cups, I'm ready to receive abundance of thought, abundance of heart, abundance of life energy. I am ready for my next move. This cup is overflowing with life-giving water, our source. It is being offered to you with unconditional love. You are encouraged to remember the power of intuition and the potency of being in touch with your feelings. This card invites you to open up and allow yourself to be led by your heart. Aces are full of yes energy and reassurance, and make sure to give yourself time to embrace the energy moving in. If your heart has already been whispering a direction or a desire, you are encouraged to trust and embrace new movement. If there has been silence, this may be a spark for new feelings, creativity, or new adventure. With an open heart, enjoy the flow of emotions. Remember that you are always held as lovingly as this cup is held, and that you are both the water and the cup. I mean, and there's still more. That's only the first part of this entry. She's also got a section for upright meanings, reversed meanings, and then a whole section on art symbolism within the card. So it's just a more flushed out version of her guidebook that comes with the deck. Actually, the linen edition comes with little cards, but the original full size comes with a little white book that is, you know, as big as the deck. But this little baby is great, not only for just this deck, but for any deck. I really feel like you can really take the stuff that's in here and apply it to the deck that you're using. And it's so warm and loving and gentle and thought out and great, and I love it. So that's my first book, is the Gentle Tarot Guidebook. The second one, kind of sticking with that theme, is the guidebook that comes with the Tarot Vampires. This is Phantasmagoria, written by Ian Daniels. Again, so many people have talked about this guidebook when they talk about owning the tarot deck, the Tarot Vampires. People have said, even if you don't use the deck, even if you don't like the deck, there is still so much gold in this book that purchasing the deck is worth it for the guidebook alone. And I agree. It is a phenomenal book. Again, you have, for each card, you have the alchemy and the kindred spirits. So the alchemy, it kind of touches on the Kabbalah kind of information on the card, and then the kindred spirits are the cards that kind of coincide with that card. So for instance, for Fortune, or the Wheel of Fortune, the alchemy section says planetary trump of Jupiter. It connects, I am not familiar with Kabbalah. I'm familiar with what it is, but I'm not familiar with the words or phrases. But you can see it connects chesed, whatever, Again, I'm not meaning to butcher that, with Nedsack on the Tree of Life. And then its kindred spirits are the Lord of the Forces of Life, Fortuna, and the Norns. Then it goes into Essence, and then the Message, which is a long section, and then Analysis and Symbolism. So that part may be, again, more personal to this particular deck if you're using it alongside it. And then it's got a section for Shadow, so how you can kind of incorporate the shadow side of each card. It's so good. It's so good. Again, whether or not you're using it with the deck, it's got so much good information just about the tarot in general, and Ian Daniels is so awesome. So that is that book. The third book is my Way Anchor Tarot Spread Book. This is created by Veronica Van Ziepel, and she launched this as a Kickstarter. And as the title may suggest, there are spreads for each of the 78 cards in the tarot. So there are actually more than 78 because there's some extra spreads in the back. But, you know, let's look at the death cards. So you have the upright and reversed meanings of the card. Then you have an actual spread to do revolving that tarot card. And she includes pictures of several decks within the book that show the spreads laid out, and then a little bit more information up top here. Kind of talking about what the spread is designed to do for you. So for instance, this death spread, it says, "This spread was designed to highlight the release of the old and transition into the new. The death card brings change, and the first step is letting go of the old. This spread asks you to identify what you need to release and why it's important to let go. You'll then be asked to acknowledge all that you've learned and start looking forward to your next steps." So what I will do with this a lot of times is I will shuffle my deck. If I don't specifically have a card in mind or something to read on, I will shuffle my deck and I will pick a card, whether that is a jumper card that comes out for me or if I, randomly choose one, and then I'll do that spread to gain some sort of message. So I love using this book for that. It gives me something to do with my cards when I, again, I don't necessarily have something in mind. I believe that there's always messages to be found within the tarot, regardless of whether or not you are coming to it with a specific question. There's always something to be learned and something to be gained. And this, it gives you the ability to play with your cards. Another one, I guess I'm cheating here, kind of tying into the same thing, is a book by Charlie Claire Burgess, I believe, who is the creator of the Fifth Spirit Tarot. They have a book. This is the third edition of a small collection of specialized spreads. So again, as you might guess, this is another book full of tarot spreads. It's, again, same kind of idea. So with these two, I've got the ability to pull a lot of different tarot spreads, and it gives me a way to interact with my decks and use them whenever I need to. So these are great books that I use for that. And my fourth book, because again, we're not counting those two as two, we're counting those two as one. My fourth book is the 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack. I don't really think I need to even go into this one. It's just such a good foundation. It's got such great information about the cards. Mine is like all dog-eared and very well loved, but that is 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack. So those are my 4 books. Moving into number 3. So these are 3 spreads that we use. Most of the time, I don't necessarily structure readings. That being said, I do have a couple that I like to use based off of some amazing creators that I have followed for a long time. Lisa Papez is the first. I love her 3-card spread for energy, obstacle, and advice. So as you might guess, it is 3 cards. The first is to pull for a representation of the energy surrounding a particular situation, a relationship, a job, your day, whatever the situation might be. It's to pull an overall energy card. The second card is the obstacle. So what might be standing in your way? What might be something that comes up as a challenge for you regarding this. And advice is the third card. So what can you do to kind of help you navigate through that obstacle? It's a very simple spread. It's a very valuable spread, in my opinion, and you can kind of flesh it out as much as you want to, right? I find that I'm very conversational with my decks, more so than, structured most of the time. I just converse. I might lay a couple cards down and have another kind of question that I kind of just keep going off of, just as I might have a conversation with you. So that is a lot of times how I pull cards. I just pull and let it go where it wants. But I do like that spread. I guess you can consider my style of reading, which I do conversationally, my second spread, because again, that is how I read. I may start with a single card and just say, all right, where are we going to start? Boom, lay a card down. Okay, well, tell me more about this. Why is this card coming out? Pull a card or two and just keep going with it. It's a free form spread. It doesn't necessarily have a card A, card B, card C, card D type of structure, but that's how I like to read. And then my third card spread is posted by Owl and Bones Tarot, and it is their weekly week ahead spread, which is Wake Up, Let Rest, and Mantra. I may have Wake Up and Let Rest flopped. Sometimes I do that. So sometimes it's Let Rest, Wake Up, Mantra, and sometimes it's Wake Up, Let Rest, Mantra. Anyway, that aside, same 3 points. So what to wake up within the following week? What do you need to bring in? What do you need to pay attention to? What needs awoken? What needs more attention, And then the Let Rest is, what are we moving on from? What do we need to kind of put to bed? What do we need to kind of let go of? What do we need to release? What do we need to let out of our mind? And then Mantra, just a message for the week ahead. What do I need to remember this week? What will get me through this week? What can I use as a mantra, as a kind of meditation to get myself through the day, throughout the week. So those are 3 spreads that I very much so enjoy using. And like I said, again, I also love the spreads in these books. Now, two pieces of tarot paraphernalia, or 2 pieces of your practice. So one, I might have to scoot back for this one. One that I use a lot. I used to use it for weekly readings on my channel, and I have kind of stopped. Those videos didn't seem to kind of get much traction. Not that that is the only reason that I post. There's been a whole mental evolution on that. Maybe I may make a video soon on just my big ruminations. But regardless, I used to do week ahead spreads using this book. This is the Creative Divination Sessions book by Jamie Sawyer, and it's just a plain black book, but I have stickered mine with tarot stickers that I get from packages or Kickstarters, whatever. And there is so much in this book. There is, I'll kind of show you the table of contents here, and it's massive. But you can kind of see there's Lenormand spreads, and tile spreads, tile boards, and then boards for using multiple kind of systems, and just all kinds of good stuff. Rune, like charm casting, dice casting boards, just really, really cool stuff. And all of it is on this beautiful art paper, so you can color it yourself or paint it yourself or whatever you want to do. And then in the front here, she does have several pages where you can kind of go through a particular deck and make notes. She's got several spaces for those. And then she's also got spaces for Lenormand decks. So you can kind of make notes on your Lenormand decks that you may put in here. Yeah, this book is just a lot of fun. It gives a lot of play to my practice, and I really, really, really enjoy it. See, this right here is a giant Lenormand grand tableau. So it's got all 36 laid out with their, you know, abbreviated meanings and information about how to pull a grand tableau. Look how much is written. Like, it's insane. The detail that is in this book is just incredible. And then she's got a Lenormand casting board to where you can see the poker size Lenormand card layout. This is actually the design right here in the center, is the design on the back of her own Sawyer's Lenormand cards. But it just gives you a place. She's got lots of blank pages too. You can color your own board or create your own board, because she is all about creation, and so it's kind of a collaboration. Then she's got a tarot casting board that is made for tiles. So you could do a whole, you know, big spread here, and the other page on the top of the book talks about how to use it and kind of the positions and what she designed them to mean. Just so cool. It's a bunch of play. And then you get these beautiful boards. Like just this, like for instance, this moth daily casting board. You can kind of see the shapes of where you would place the cards. You can obviously use them freeform as well, just as pretty backdrops, but it's just a lot of fun. I love it. I do actually have this in a board as well, a physical wooden board. She created those for a time as well. So you can just see it. It's just neat. So yeah, I love this book. And I mean, it's so many pages. And then, yeah, I could go on and on about this, but that is my Creative Divination Sessions book by Jamie Sawyer, and that is a huge part of my practice. I actually use it all the time. I've just stopped posting about it and using it for video readings, but let me know if you were one of the people that liked those, if you want me to bring those back. That's one thing that I use in my practice. Another is sprays. So my favorite one is this smudge spray, and it has sage and rosemary in it. We currently rent our home, and so I don't like to burn a whole lot of candles. I do have a bunch of candles. I'm a sucker for October Occult, but I don't like to burn them all the time. And so I prefer sprays because it helps me kind of get into the moment and not create any permanent lingering odors in a house that is not ours. In fact, I'm going to use my smudge spray right now. It seriously smells like you've burned sage. It's so delicious. It's so grounding and lovely. And it just gets you relaxed and in the moment. Kind of spray adjacent, I also like using oils, because again, those are not things that will create lingering odors that do not leave when we do. So I love a good spray and a good oil. I like to anoint the backs of my hands with oils. I don't use my fingers or the insides of my hands just because I tend to naturally have sweaty hands, and so sometimes that's not always the best. Okay, I'm back. So my battery rudely died. I knew that would happen. When does that not happen? Anyway, so I will finish off with my number one, which is, I've decided, going to be a piece of advice to anybody that's new to tarot or the tarot community online, whatever the case may be. To sum it up in a single sentence, and then I will kind of expand on it, let your practice be your own. It's that simple. It is very easy to get caught up in the tarot influencer world where you see these creators with massive collections, or they're posting 3 and 4 times a week, or their Instagram has thousands and thousands of followers. It's very easy to kind of get caught up in all of that and kind of lose sight on the point of the practice to begin with and what it brings to you. It is also easy to get caught up in the sense of FOMO, or fear of missing out, where you might see someone with a deck and that may make you want the deck. And then you may realize that it doesn't actually work for you. And these are all lessons that we've all learned. We've all been there. Also, there is no one way to read tarot. Sure, there are guidebooks, there are books that people have written about the study of tarot. But at the end of the day, if the way that the deck works for you, if the way that the cards speak to you, if they are allowing you to become the best version of yourself, or if it is allowing you to help others become the best versions of themselves, if you're reading for others, then that's the whole point of tarot, and that's what it is. So it just, let your practice be your own. Let yourself benefit the way that you need to benefit from the spiritual practice of reading tarot and oracle or Lenormand or runes or whatever the case may be. Don't get caught up in trying to be other people or trying to keep up with the people that seemingly have everything. It's just like the real world, right? It's the same thing, just boiled down kind of. But allow it to be what it is for you. Allow yourself, if you want to post content, if you want to make content that you want to make because you want to make it. Let it be things that you want to talk about. Yeah, that's it. I feel like if I talk about it anymore, I'll just keep going in circles. But again, in essence, let your practice be your own. That's what I would say to someone new to tarot. So, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for being here and going through this tarot tag with me. Thank you again to Kristy from Green Eyed Tarot. I am so sorry that it took me so long. I've really loved watching other people's versions of this video, as I usually do. I cannot wait to feel better and maybe film some more. I do have a couple things that I would like to post soon, but I am letting all of this kind of settle some first. But again, I wanted to get this one out because I have time. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.